From VOA Learning English, this is the Education Report. The United Nations Children's Fund is appealing to international donors to help provide education money for Syrian school children. Safe places to learn, teachers and supplies are all lacking, and almost 2 million young Syrian students have dropped out of school. UNICEF says about 40% of students from grades 1 to 9 across the nations no longer attend formal classes. UNICEF spokeswoman Marissa Mercado says about half of those children are now refugees in Lebanon, Jordan, Iraq, and Turkey. In the northern city of Aleppo, for example, only 6% of children of school age are in classrooms. But the school year there and in other locations began as planned on September 15th. Talk of a military strike by the United States had caused uncertainty about starting classes. But schools opened after a strike appeared less likely. Still, many children who once walked to school are now taken there by their parents, and other families have simply left the country. Lebanon now is trying to help about 550,000 school-age Syrian refugee children. UNICEF says the Lebanese public education system can take care of 300,000 Lebanese children. UNICEF is establishing schools for refugee children in buses. In Jordan, UNICEF says about 2/3 of 150,000 Syrian school-age children are not in school. In Iraq, UNICEF says 9 out of 10 Syrian refugee children are out of school. Inside Syria, Ms. Mercado says the educational system has been torn apart. Both UNICEF and the Syrian government says about 3,000 schools have been damaged or destroyed. For VOA Learning English, I'm Alex Villarreal. From VOA Learning English, this is the Education Report. Kidpen Alley is a non-profit organization that holds songwriting workshops for students across the United States. The organization recently visited school in the Anacostia area of Washington. The children presented a concert with the help of songwriter and recording artist Paul Weisler. He established Kidpen Alley in 1999. Since then, he has worked with more than 35,000 students and produced more than 2,200 songs. He says the power of music can teach children skills they might not learn in schools. He believes the American educational system is focused too much on standardized tests designed to measure knowledge. But Paul Weisler says we now live in a creative economy. He says his group is trying to inspire children to be creative. At our elementary school in Anacostia, 95% of students come from poor families. Marlon Reyes is the school's dean of students. He says some of the children have difficult lives, but he says these kids still want to strive for greatness. Jonna Turner is director for a program at the school. She says the 4th and 5th grade students are often focused on more than school. Some have to help their families or live in homeless shelters. A shooting took place in April directly in front of the school. No one was injured, but the incident affected the whole community. Students are often influenced by what happens around them. Still, our elementary school has a positive, hopeful atmosphere. Marlon Ray says the workshop and concert made possible by Kidpen Alley created good memories that will last for years. For VOA Learning English, I'm Lauren Bowman. This is the VOA Special English Education Report. About 1/5 of Americans aged 6 to 19 are considered overweight. To reduce that number, some schools are teaching children to make better food choices. The E.W. Stokes Public Charter School in Washington has started to include food topics in its 3rd grade math and English programs. The school formed a partnership with Sibling Project, an environmental group in San Francisco, California. Peter Nolly is the curriculum director for a program called Farm to Desk. He says they are doing this in part to address the issue of childhood obesity. He says one of the main components of our program is our belief that if kids are exposed to positive and healthy messaging about food throughout the instructional day that has the most potential to impart long-term change. Teacher Hannah Chan recently used food example to teach 8 and 9-year-olds in a math class how to make combinations. For example, they figured out the different combinations that could be made with a pizza and 2 toppings. School chef Makisa Day says the schools buys most of the food from local farms, but the schools has a garden for the students to grow some of the vegetables themselves. The children, they love it, she says. Teacher Hannah Chan agrees. She says, we have a salad bar at the school, and now the kids love the salad bar. They love the fruit and vegetables, so I think it is making a big difference in their lives. She says the third graders have also learned to read the sugar and fat content listed on food packages. She says the E.W. Stokes Public Charter School in Washington plans to expand the farm-to-desk program to other grades next year. Student charter schools get public money but do not have to follow the same rules as traditional public schools. Many charter schools have specialized areas of study, like Environmental Charter High School near Los Angeles. Students learn the importance of protecting the environment. Vigo Estrada says he used to be the kind of person who threw trash on the street. But now he has done things like clean up beaches and teach elementary school students about the importance of water conservation. He says he now knows that going green actually is a really serious topic. Students learn from teachers and outside experts, like the owner of an environmentally friendly business. They also learn how to make a plan that they can use to help pay for college. For VOA Special English, I'm Alex Villarreal. From VOA Learning English, this is the Education Report. Imagine you are students in Mexico and your teachers asks you to write a report about the country's ancient Aztec civilization. You now can do your own research on the subject through the World Digital Library, or WDL. One of the 8,000 items listed on this website is the general history of the things of New Spain. It was written in the 16th century by a member of a Roman Catholic religious order, Friar Bernardino Sahagún lived in what is now Mexico. He liked many qualities of the Aztecs and wrote 13 books about them in Spanish and Nahuatl, the Aztec language. The books are stored in Florence, Italy, but you can read every page and see every pictures with the word digital library. The library has at least one item from every member countries of the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, or UNESCO. UNESCO and the U.S. Library of Congress launched the WDL in 2009. Since then, more than 25 million people has visited part of the collection. The library provides free access to thousands of objects of cultural and historical importance. The library is looking for information about Arabic and Islamic science, says Musa Murawa. He is a WDL researcher who works on all of the library's documents in Arabic. Arab countries and their libraries are strong supporters of the World Digital Library. Mr. Murawa says the library shows the United States as a partner with Arab countries in an area other than military or security matters. The library also is helping countries make electronic copies of their documents so that they are available to computer users around the world. For VOA Learning English, I'm Lauren Bowman. From VOA Learning English, this is the Education Report. Teachers and parents usually call attention to the pictures when they read storybooks to preschool children. But a study published in 2011 suggests that calling attention to the words and letters on the page may help attract reading. The 2-year study compared children who were read to this way in class with children who were not. The children whose teachers most often discussed the print showed clearly higher skills in reading, spelling, and understanding. These results were found 1 year and even 2 years later. Shane Piasta at Ohio State University was an author of the study. She says most preschool teachers would find this method manageable and would need only a small change in the way they teach. They already read storybooks in class. The only difference would be increased attention to the printed text. If you get children to pay attention to letters and words, it makes sense they would do better at word recognition and spelling. But research suggests that very few parents and teachers do this in a systematic way. The report appeared in the journal Child Development. More than 300 children aged 4 and 5 were observed for the study. The children came from poor families and were below average in their language skills. There are different ways that adults can talk to children about print. They can point to a letter and discuss it, and even trace the shape with a finger. They can point out a word. They can discuss the meaning of the print or how the words tell the story. And they can talk about the organization of the print. For instance, showing how words are written left to right in English. For VOA Learning English, I'm Alex Villarreal.